Hello and welcome back, everybody, for our second series of the day. We just finished an insanely close one, and now we are into what could also be a very exciting matchup as we have Cloud9 Challengers up against Wildcard coming up here. Let's take a quick look at the current schedule and what happened so far on the day, because, of course, we had a 1-1 between CLG and FlyQuest. Crazy how that series ended. We got a 5-champ Jack stun into a pentakill and then a 55-minute banger. Beatdown, is there any chance that this next series lives up to that hype?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I don't know. I didn't even expect that first series to be hype, so I feel like I can't rule it out anymore. Especially with, like, I mean, we've been seeing the clips when we were on break that go over on the Challengers stream. There's also like insane bangers going on. I feel like it's just the day.
Yeah, if you're watching at home and you're only watching Path to LCS, I'm sorry, you got to split screen it up. You got to dual screen it. Even if you only have one monitor, put one on the left side, put one on the right side. You got to be watching both streams at the same time.
That is the best way to watch the semi-pro scene, the LCS Challengers in North America here. Rafa, I don't know. Are you wearing a bib or something? Is this going to come up later, or are we talking about this now? Okay. All right, don't worry about it. I'm confused because I think there was an outfit change, but I guess that's going to be coming up here shortly. Let's talk about the teams ahead of us right now. Cloud9 Challengers starting off first. As one of the heavy hitters in the early season, these guys are fierce. And specifically, Eminus in the mid lane, just styling on everybody, Rafa.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about how, copy was dropped for Diplex and M&S. Well, not even referring to the LCS side, M&S alone has been tearing it up in Challengers League. He has gotten at least 1 or 2 solo kills in every single game that he has played thus far. He's leading the league in solo kills. I mean, like, M&S is already making a front runner for most valuable prospect at this point.
And it's his first split here, which is the craziest thing. Cloud9 scouts grabbed an insane talent. And, like, I know Diplex is doing well at the LCS level, but M&S is already at this point where it's like, well, Cloud9 have the best of both worlds. Like, they could really go with either of these mid laners because we're already looking at M&S as a talent that can easily go very far in his career if he keeps up the same level of performance. But as we look at the gameplay, a lot of it is just Cloud9 having these strong lanes and then being able to play around all of them. And Beatdown, when you have pretty much every lane winning, makes the game a little easier to play.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why we have been highlighting how Tomio in particular is looking better, enjoying his time on this team so far. And I mean, as a jungler, I know Mark can attest to this. You're always all smiles and feeling good when your laners are winning every lane they're in. And that's why I'm interested to see with how Wildcard play these more unique styles. I wonder if they're going to be able to challenge the laners of Cloud9, thus creating a more complicated situation for Tomio.
Right, because Cloud9, when it comes to the standard gameplay style, I mean, they're the kings of it right now. They are just crushing every single team that they go up against. I think they've only dropped one or I don't remember how many games, but they've only dropped a small number.
Yeah.
And if we look at the opposition, so you said one word there, Rafa, which was standard. I don't know if that word can be applied to this next team because Wildcard are probably the complete opposite style. I want to get photos of them up at some point because we have to do them justice with how they've been playing. Beatdown, Wildcard are living up to the name. They are wild to watch.
That's right, and I really meant it when I said unique picks, unique styles, where a lot of it is centered on that top side of the map. Yeah, sure, you see Lens plays the Kalista when nobody else does, but it's Moose Hater and Keel. You have a Rock in the mid lane with Soligo, and Moose Hater and Keel playing all sorts of spicy picks. Moose Hater in particular, bringing out things from Garen all the way to the Alawi, and there are just so many examples of how not only does their flexibility and willingness to play these unique champs help them in draft, it also gets them into, I think, some pretty good situations, especially when you consider Zach, favorite of Moose Hater, I think is actually a really good champion right now. And if you're comfortable playing that one in the top lane, I think that does wonders for your ability to play out the game.
And it's not only just things like the Zac. I mean, they're flexing the Zac between both jungle and top lane. They're flexing the Udyr between both jungle and top lane. There's you already talked about the Garen. We saw Moosehater bust out an Alawi at some point as well. I mean, there's so many things that Wildcard are just willing to do to break the mold that... I mean, why would you want to play Standard against the team that is probably doing it the best job at that in Cloud9? You have to play your own game. You have to bring out some of these niche picks that Cloud9 are probably not as practiced as.
You gotta cook, absolutely. Right. And they've been cooking up some really weird recipes so far, if we consider their drafts, a dish, which I believe catches us up to the reason for the outfit change. Rafa, can you explain what's going on now?
That's right. Well... Wildcard, they're going to be in the kitchen as always, getting ready to cook. And, they have to serve something up that even Cloud9 will not be able to turn down. That is their goal. Unfortunately, Cloud9 is probably going to be the harshest critic out there for Wildcard because, as we said before, Cloud9 is the king when it comes to just standard gameplay. And if Cloud9 can just wash away your food and be like, yeah, this was unimpressive, I mean, it's going to be business as usual for Cloud9.
Vito, is this just a photo of you in your house? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's a cosplay. You know what cosplay is, Kangas?
You have a nice house. I like the background. This looks incredible.
Thank you.
So wait, who's the critic here? So Beaton, you're Cloud9. You're the food critic of the drafts of Wildcard?
Yes, because Wildcard, they've been cooking up a storm like we've been talking about. In Cloud9, the kings of Standard at the moment are the critics, and the quote says it all. If they don't love it, Wildcard will lose.
Well, let's see if Cloud9 like the taste of Wildcard today, because we are ready for pick and ban. So I'm going to throw it over to Rafa and Beatdown to take it away.
He throws it, and I catch it. Muchas gracias, Kangas. It is time for our second series of the day here on Path to LCS. And if you, like we said before, if you aren't dual watching these two streams, you got to do it right now. Like, split screen them up. Even if you only got one screen, you got to be catching all the action here, as Challengers League is only bringing the best and the spiciest stuff. Maybe not necessarily the highest level gameplay, but it's definitely the most exciting.
And I mean, how much more exciting can it be? We're getting the spiciest gameplay. You are watching the future pros of tomorrow. So there's something different about being able to watch players develop, then watch them in the Pro League and be like, man, I remember them when they were slugging it out in Tier 2, maybe even Tier 3, depending on the player. And there is something gratifying about that.
Well, here we are to reap the benefits and the rewards of something so gratifying as watching Challengers League gameplay. And already the respect from C9 Challengers, the food critic, the reviews are in there saying, you know what? That Zac and Udyr, a little too spicy for us. We're going to have to curb that one back.
That's right. They know what they don't like. Those are things they're going to take out of the picture here. But it's going to be the Elise lock-in immediately. Constantly banned in our last series. Very strong jungler in the earlier parts of the game. You do so much damage if you manage to snowball as well. And we just look at Wildcard. What are they cooking up, Mark? What do they have for us so far? You got to imagine early on, will probably be some standard stuff because we talk about the top half and how exciting they tend to be. But you look on the bottom side, Lens Duo King, they do play a lot of standard stuff outside of Kalista.
Ashe. Pretty standard so far. Wildcard, you got to have a foundation for this dish, right?
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you don't go overboard and just start throwing in ingredients that just don't make sense. But off of the foundation, then you can start building the flavors that really set Wildcard apart. Now, Ashe Maokai, foundation, pretty solid. You have long-range engage, you have long-range disengage as well. So this gives Wildcard the tools to really control the aspects of the battlefield, whereas C9, with this Elise early pick, to me that says Cloud9 don't give a damn about what Wildcard want to do, because Tomio is just going to snowball and win lanes for everybody.
And look at the lanes you already want to be playing for. Zeri, Lulu. We saw from Meech last series what kind of damage this combo can do in the late game. And it's that perfect baton pass of early game to mid-late game champions there for this Elise. Tomio, already have an idea of what he's wanting to do, and we're going to find out pretty soon if this is Ashe AD carry or Ashe support, because I believe Wildcard are one of the few teams alongside Cincinnati Fear who actually run it in the supports, in the AD carry spot, excuse me. And it's looking like they will run it as an AD carry.
Well, we know Duo King plays a lot of Senna, so
That's true.
My money would be that Lens will be piloting the Ashe and Duo King will take the Senna. One of the few teams that still plays Senna. I'll have to go back and check, but I don't think anyone else has played Senna so far in the Challengers League beat.
I believe you're right. Of course, we would have to check, but it is definitely a rare pick. That I can say for certain. You do offer a lot of scaling. You do offer a lot of late game power, which I think is what they're playing for here. And at the end of the day, Lens will still be able to do his fair share of damage, and the long range engage is the biggest thing here. And at this point, top lane bans in second rotation seem to be pretty par for the course on red side, because you want to give your top laner the best advantage they can. And the question is, we've seen some good ingredients, Mark. We're starting to get an idea what Wildcard are cooking up. But the most exciting question, the final ingredient, what is Moose Hater going to play?
That's right. And more than likely, Wildcard going to save Moose Hater's pick for the last part of the draft. So, Soligo gonna have to blind pick an option here into Cloud9 Challengers. A cast in an early ban says to me that Cloud9 want... Oh, okay. Wow.
Oh.
It's a blind Fiora pick from Moose Hater. This is... All right, B. Now, this is a cool draft.
Yeah.
So far, the only spicy flavor here is the Senna. Everything else is kind of more standard. I don't want to say it's bland, but I mean, a lot of people have been watching this meta definitely say it's stale. So we'll have to see if Cloud9 can just go toe-to-toe. I mean, we have full confidence that they should be able to do away with it easily.
Right, and we already highlighted a standard. I mean, C9 are one of the teams playing it the best. It's 7-1 at the moment here. Wildcard definitely need some secret ingredient to be able to finish this off, but we'll see. Moose Hater's played the Fiora before, back on AoE Ginger Turmeric last year, and has had some solid performances, and even though this isn't the more exciting stuff we've seen, he's still going to be able to have quite a bit of impact. And the Blind Silas for M&S, I think, is pretty nice. You do go double AP for mid-jungle, meaning the Merc Treads become extremely valuable just like that, but what's Soligo going to be running in the mid lane? Is this the Fiora mid? Are we getting baited?
No way. I mean, like,
imagine.
When we think about the wildcard members that would go off the walls, we don't think of Soligo being one of them. He's usually the guy that runs something like an Azir. Yeah, I'm throwing down the chef's hat. Well,
you already know.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was really hoping that Wildcard was just gonna throw something exciting into the mix. This is apart from the Senna, everything is pretty much what a lot of other teams would run. So I think Wildcard, this is a statement from them saying, we don't need to rely on niche picks or cheese picks. You can ban all the things that we have played and scared other teams with. We're going to beat you at your own game. If Wildcard can do that, then this changes everything. And I just want to be realistic with y'all. I mean, Cloud9 have the track record, 7-1. Wildcard is definitely one of our better, if not best, provisional team in the league. This is still Cloud9 Challengers, y'all.
And, you know, sometimes they say the simplest recipes are the best, Mark. And this would be a statement for Wildcard if they actually manage to make this one happen. Because realistically, currently, one of the highest placing teams out of the provisional ones, in a good spot to avoid relegation, excuse me. But as we go on, as we continue our best of one round robin that we've got, our best of two round robin, single round robin, excuse me. If Wildcard can get these wins, especially playing standard, because people will start to figure them out, I think that will bode amazingly for their future in Spring Split.
Well, the Wildcard fans are out in, hot pursuit, and I appreciate that. Everyone cheering on the underdogs in this matchup, as slowly the Cloud9 fans are starting to spam in the chat and give their support. But right now, if we had to just give a winner based on who's showing out for their favorite team, it's the Wildcard fans right now.
Very true. And looking at how these comps are going to be interacting, I mean, Maokai, not as strong early on, but you will have that help of the early push from Azir that Soligo is going to be piloting in the mid lane. So it means Keel will still have these opportunities to maybe go for invades, or at the very least match what Tomio's going to be trying to do in the early game. And that's going to be another thing to keep an eye on. Tomio, player we've seen a lot of in the past, was what did we call him? The jungler that was promised or something like that?
Yeah, we had a lot of expectations during the Evil Geniuses Prodigies days. We saw so much spark, so much grit from a prospect. And then during the Evil Geniuses Academy team, which is now Challengers League, obviously, I just don't think the setup and the environment was that great for him to thrive. And we seen the difference in his most recent interview after a Cloud9 Challengers win, is the just having Tomio seem not only more comfortable in his environment, but genuinely happy to be there. And
yeah,
kind of helps when you have really damn good players all synchronizing well in this team.
That's right. Now, oh, wait.
Duo King and Lens actually taking the 2v2 against
God.
Lost and Zazel. They're flashing forward. Lost tries to flash in and bait them in because Tomio's here for the counter gank. Tomio cleans up one, but Lens picks up a double. And Wildcard, I mean, they were ready to cook, throw themselves in the frying pan for a 2v2, but Tomio ensures that Cloud9 answer back.
Wow. Explosive already in the first 2 minutes of gameplay mark. It's going to be a double both ways. But I do say I like for Cloud9 that Tomio is able to get that 2-0 start. We're going to see the replay coming through here. And I like this. Duo King, we highlighted. Very comfortable on the Senna. Knows the limits, ins and outs. So because they get level 2 at the same time, the all-in from Lost and Zazel isn't quite what they were hoping for. And the only thing that really saved this for Cloud9 is the fact that Tomio, after clearing the bottom side jungle, showed up to help his bot laners out.
Just great timing. Fortunately for the bottom lane of Cloud9, Tomio's arrival was not soon enough to save Zazel and Lost from giving up kills in the end, but, I mean, very much down that Wildcard are willing to throw hands early on. This is not the first time a provisional team has gone toe-to-toe with an expected favorite in a Challengers team. If we think back to AoE Gold, Lynx, and Skytech, taking on Unforgiven and Destiny. I mean, you have to remember that sometimes a more practiced provisional lane can make the difference.
Right, and now we look at the mid jungle. Tomio, after that double kill on the bottom side, I think is in a good position because, one, you get the insta tier 2s, and the Sork Shoes is a big deal for Elise, and we'll see why.
Oh, that cocoon connects! Soligo was attempting to dodge out with a sidestep, but is forced to flash away from his former jungler.
A little bit of lollipop action going on there. But it's a big deal. You get the summoner out of Soligo, this lane that's usually very safe for Azir, with the threat of this Elise, who's already 2-0. He might be able to alleviate the pressure from M&S. And M&S is that player who, again, celebrated his 20th solo kill last week. So expecting that even though this early lane does not favor Sylas, as time goes on, we get past level 6, and he's in that position where it's playmaking time. He will find himself being able to make those plays more often than not. That's why Wildcard really want this lead that Tomio is starting to build to kind of slow down a little bit.
Yep.
You know, just relax. Take it slow.
They're trying to decelerate as much as possible. And obviously, you can't just sit back and do nothing in order to decelerate the lead. You have to combat with pressure that forces Cloud9 to obviously slow down. We already saw a little bit of that. Lens and Duo King attempting to take their 2v2 against Lost and Zazel, but Tomio has now made 2 successful appearances both in bot and mid lane. The snowball can be set up for M&S to succeed because now that he has flash advantage over Soligo, Soligo is going to be very much hoping that he can get to level 6 before M&S does. Otherwise, I can expect and imagine there's going to be an instant yoink away with hijack and Emperor's Divide on Soligo.
That's right. We know M&S to be that aggressive of a player here. Now we're seeing the first dragon come through. I mean, early game jungler, this is what you can expect, especially with the advantages Tomio himself has been able to accrue. And even though you have a comp where, realistically, I favor Cloud9, going into those later parts of the game when it comes to front to back means that you're not really playing for Dragon Soul specifically, but it's that denial. So Wildcard don't really have that option, or by the time they do, it'll be too late. So it's a nice pickup for them.
Jimenez fishing around to see where
he knows.
Find Keel, and okay. Instead of going for the Emperor's Divide, he wants the more utilitarian one, or not, wrong word. He wants the ultimate that provides a little bit more utility and easier to execute with in the Nature's Wrath from Keel. Gives him an option to disengage a fight, or if he wants to go for a roam and the long-range engage that can snare up either of these sides.
Right, or even in the mid lane. We could see the repeat visit from Tomio with Soligo not having his flash available. And I mean, we haven't seen a kill in the last few minutes here, so just taking a second to take stock of what's been going on. Lens did get that double kill early on, so does have that gold lead overall. It's culminating in the CS lead that we're seeing here as well. So if Lens and Duo King are able to continue these advantages, maybe Dragon stacking will still be an option for Wildcard. And Lens in particular is going to be crucial because of that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Because when we think about how team fights are going to play out, you're really looking for this long-range engage to get someone who you can burst down. Because when it comes to extended engages, again, looking at Cloud9, you have Gnar, you have Elise, even Silas. I think those long engages favor them so much.
Because you can always fish for stuff, right? You don't necessarily need to commit. If you look for Enchanted Crystal Arrow and all you get is a flash, it's like, okay, cool. And that's
very nice.
That's all I want. Because now that identifies and sets up the target for the next arrow to hit. So, Wildcard, they're already, it's like, hey, hang on. That's our Maokai ultimate, but it's not from Maokai. It's from M&S, who, as we said before, was fishing for Nature's Wrath. Doesn't want to commit. It just gives and alleviates some pressure. But that spots out Keel. And immediately Tomio says, I have a window, Rift Herald time.
Right, and M&S, I mean, realistically, it's more than likely that the hijack was about to expire, but that information is so crucial. And even though Keel has hit level 6, right, M&S now post 6 is starting to do better. He's keeping up in CS, so you have this opportunity to go for yet another early game objective. And you have this Elise who's already got a lead, who now has the Blasting Wand to play with as well. There's a dive opportunity somewhere on this map, and if Keel's not there to answer it, this snowball is going to get mighty big for Cloud9.
Thought about maybe if Tomio was fishing for the top side of the map when Fake God hit Mega, but backs off. Gonna look for camps instead. You already see red pings coming out, trying to detect and identify where Tomio was going. But I think Tomio is also planning after blue buffs, like, hey, I want to look for something topside. There's a control ward, so Wildcard now know for sure that the spider is on the top side of the map. And for that, that will call off the dive that C9 were looking for.
Right, and think about it, even though the dive itself doesn't go through, look at Keel. Going towards the top side, has camps to clear, but at this point, he is going to be responding to Tomio. Every opportunity, anything that looks like a potential dive for this Elise who's holding on to the Herald, that's where Keel's got to be. So that's something that he's going to be dealing with for these next couple of minutes here, just trying to keep track. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more offensive vision coming through from the members of Wildcard. Maybe a slightly deep ward from Soligo. Maybe Dual King gets the roam opportunity. But either way, keeping track of the spider is of the utmost importance while he has the eye.
Keel spots out Tomio in the topside jungle as Tomio was attempting to fish to alleviate pressure for M&S. Recently just got his teleport in, finishing that catalyst. Fishing topside once again, but because both jungles have been spawned on the top side, that means both bot lanes know that it's just them isolated in the 2v2. Lost looking for that ultimate play. Nature's Wrath from Keel. Topside dive is in commotion at the moment. Moosehater had already backed off. They just want to look for some plates for Fake God's pockets.
Right, so if that cocoon landed, things might have gone differently, but ultimately, again, I like that they're constantly looking. All parts of Cloud9, really. You see Zeyzal and Lost hard committing when they see these opportunities. You see Tomio and Fake God, fishing. Just putting out feelers to see if the top lane dive is going to work out for them here. So hasn't been culminating in too much since we saw the early double for double at like minute 2 or something along those lines. But soon, still, I have my eye on that Rift Herald just because of how important it's going to be. And it's actually getting to that point where it's going to start to expire. So, Tomio, you got to go somewhere.
Yeah. I will say, Soligo is probably the mid laner that has handled M&S the best so far, if not Insanity from Dignitas Challengers. He is going up slightly above CS on M&S. We've just seen M&S be able to completely destroy matchups in what seems like every other game. But the pressure that Soligo is able to combat gives them the priority, alongside bot lane also pushing in Lost and Zeyzal for the second dragon of the game. So Wildcard, I mean, a slight surprise. They are pushing back on every other roam that Tomio's looked for after the first part of the game, and it's preventing Cloud9 from being able to snowball.
Right, but that opportunity to snowball hasn't gone just yet, especially because Keel's still on the way, Rift Herald ready to drop.
But Duo King from across the map, Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Also, in case they committed the dive, they all back off. The Dawning Shadow from Duo King giving a little bit of extra shield as well to Moose Hater. I mean, the defensive options for Wildcard is actually astounding, and they're managing to hold Cloud9 Challenger back.
Yeah, I mean, so far, again, you get some gold plates onto Tomio, which is nice because he's continuing to stack this gold lead that he surely has over Keel. But overall, like you said, Wildcard are keeping the game nice and slow. They're minimizing what Tomio's been able to do, unless...
Oh, Tomio. Okay, well, Moose Hater dodged out on the Cocoon, but I don't think he can dodge out on everything here. You know, one last auto attack. There it is. Tomio kept fishing and fishing and fishing for attempts on the top side. Moose Hater had dodged out on so much, but eventually it crumbles, and that's the first kill, or the first death for Moose Hater, and it's another kill for Tomio. Just an even more accelerated spider. Action on the bottom side. M&S has found a roam window. Duo King still has flash, but he wants to wait it out. He just uses the movement speed of Senna to get away, and he saves the Summoner Spell on top of it.
Yeah, good discipline to be able to hold on to that flash, and also...
Okay, maybe Soligo wants to look for the play, but he just forces M&S to flash over the wall instead. That's an important Summoner Spell to clear out, but because Tomio had put so much pressure on the top side of the map, eventually Fake God is able to get first brick of the game.
So this top lane is pretty much going entirely in favor of Fake God because of Tomio's intervention and just the extra damage the Herald does. Tomio also in a really strong position, and yeah, you make a play mid as Wildcard, but I can't help but feel like this game is slowly falling out of their grasp mark just because of the fact that, I mean, everybody is on the side of Cloud9 are either on par for what they want or ahead of that. I mean, Tomio has the Rocket Belt already built up on top of Tier 2 boots, so he's in a very powerful state here. M&S has been keeping up. Lost, Zeyzal are going at pace. So yes, Wildcard are playing well defensively, but we need to see more from them to be able to actually get these leads. Because right now, Moose Hater is in a tough position, and Keel, though he's been farming adequately, hasn't been able to actually have that impact. He's still 0-0-0.
Defensive walls are starting to slowly be weathered down by Cloud9. It hasn't been an immediate burst yet. They haven't broken down the dam, you know. Yeah, we're at Helm's Deep. The mortar hasn't come in fully yet under the keep, but you know, Cloud9 are just pelting effort after effort until eventually, for Cloud9's sake, they can break down the walls and storm into the castle.
Well, their battering rams are being acquired as the second Rift Herald is picked up. And I mean, a great respect from Lost. Oh, wait a minute. 2 teleports?
And this is a way to really break down the walls here. If you go for a double TP flank, Tomio's also on the left side. They are pincered here unless the Hex Gates, but they're being stopped by the damage. Moose Hater's forced to teleport to see if he can salvage his bot lane. But Cloud9, the walls are closing in on the Wildcard. And Cloud9 have found their battering ram, and they have battered down the walls of Wildcard, and this game has just been blown wide open for Cloud9 Challengers.
And just like that, another 2,000 gold in their favor, and another Rift Herald ready to use. Soligo, you can't be here. This isn't your area. Fake God is making sure he understands that nice and well. And it's just been an insane advantage that Cloud9 have gotten for themselves. The top tier 1 turret taken down by Fake God. Now with mid being gone, it's going to be much easier for you to go for these invades, keep these waves pushed in, and members of Wildcard further on into their side of the map. And with this next dragon coming up, you got to imagine that's going to belong to Cloud9.
Cloud9, incredible timing too. Tomio was the first one of his team to hit that Mythic and the Proto Belt, but as soon as Fake God hits Trinity Force,
what?
Rod of Ages
Hello?
completed. Oh wait, Cloud9? They really want to take this fight?
M&S?
Oh my god! M&S with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. That's a lot of damage, but it's not enough. Lens still has enough firepower, and Cloud9 may have just overestimated how much damage they could really do. You can never count out Wildcard, it seems. Tomio's on the run. Enchanted Crystal Arrow fires. He flashes over the wall, gets out alive. Cocoon right on back. The damage. Oh, he's going to go for it against Celico, his former jungler, both from Evil Genius's Academy last year. They both end up going down. It's shutdown gold that goes over to Wildcard. Wow. I mean, Wildcard is just ready to fight on back.
I will say right off the bat, that's an unofficial quadra kill for Lens. And also, M&S, we praise him for his aggression, for his ability to pick up kills, but this time around, I think he bit off more than he could chew. And you'll see it here in the replay. The ward is cleared. He has the opportunity because he's getting auto attack and says, you know what? Let me come over here. You're going to auto attack me, Duo King? The problem is he had some backup. His big brother Keel was in the area. And though it was an admirable effort, Duo King almost falling in the process. At the end of the day, the turn from Wildcard was too good. And Lens was able to just pelt out DPS nonstop alongside Celico.
And I know Duo King fans are rising up in the chat, just going, they fell for the bait. They tried to get our boy. They couldn't. Duo King never dies for them. And this was...
Oh, thank God.
Unfortunately, thank God that wall is a little too thick for Tiny Hop.
Oh, but interestingly enough, Wildcard had to back off because of Fake God, so they didn't get the dragon. So, of course, you managed to narrow the gold lead a little bit, but I think it's really brutal because you want that dragon soul, you want to continue to stack, and you lose that opportunity even though you have a good fight. Saving grace is that Lens is 6-2, and the big deficit, if we could actually look at the gold differences between players now, is in the top lane mark. So with that being said, Fake God, Moose Hater on the Fiora, they're going to be splitting. They're going to be away. Yeah. So if we look at the 4v4 core, Wildcard, not in as bad position as it may look, especially because Lens has so many kills and is already at that 2-item mark.
Now, Moose Hater can eventually get to a point where he will be able to inflict insane split-pushing will, but now's not that time. Fake God has the advantage, especially with the Trinity Force setup. Not someone that you want to underestimate in the side lane. Cloud9 Challengers are attempting to break down this outer tier 1 turret. So far, they haven't been able to get it down, but after this next wave, it seems like the pressure finally gives way. Oh, look at that. Got your gold differential, too. Oh, my goodness. 2,000. 2,000 for Fake God. But also, almost 2,000 for Lens as well.
Yeah, so a lot of the lead is really like this top side of the map for Cloud9. They're all, if you look at it, ahead of their opponents by at least 1,000 gold. Actually, in Fake God and Tomio's case, it's 2,000 gold. So this topside core is very strong at the moment here, and Lost and Zazel, not as much. Like, at the end of the day, you're still Zeri, and that second item spike is something to fear, Mark. But until you get there, it's really going to be about Fake God, Tomio, and M&S and what they are going to be able to do. And because you continue to stall the dragon out, the Dragon Soul for Wildcard, you have that luxury to wait until you reach those crucial item spikes.
Right. Cloud9 have to, once again, be on the side that slightly accelerates the pace, especially since whenever you go for something that around an Elise draft, it's eventually, I mean, she can still put out a lot of damage if you set up picks, but it's harder to team fight with her versus something like a Maokai, who gets to be a tank. It's this front line. He's not at the tankiest part of the game right now, since rushing that Demonic Embrace is trying to be a pest with the saplings and bushes for vision control, but I mean, Cloud9, it's not like Cloud9 doesn't have a late game insurance policy. You have Lost on this Zeri, who's gonna still be pelting out damage on that third item spike.
I mean, 2 items is already a big deal for Lost. So the fact that he's here now with that Runeons, now you're feeling really comfortable about the 5v5 as Cloud9. And now I'm going to expect Tomio to be fishing a little bit more. You have Tomio, Fake God, a lot of CC. I mean, with what MNS showed us, he's not afraid to do a little bit of fishing himself. Means that there will be a lot of opportunities. Hold on.
Jenna Crystal Arrow, but Tomio, great Zonias. He has Repel to play with, but he gets rooted up. Does he have enough time to buy it out? I guess he didn't have Repel, or he already used it because the Spider is taken down. Shurima's divide from Soligo pushes them back. But Cloud9, oh, Soligo?
Whoa,
no, wait,
Soligo?
Oh, that was so close. I thought Soligo had almost clutched it out, but MNS is able to get the last laugh on that one. Lost! Just destroys Wildcard in the backside. Moose Hater, what can you do? Can he get in range?
No.
Everyone from Cloud9 makes it out alive.
Now that, Mark, is why we tout Lost and Zeyzal as one of, if not the best bot lanes in the league. It was looking doomed there in those last minutes with how low their health could get, but they know the limits. They lane well, they team fight well, Mark, and it just continues to show time and time again. And even though this was off the back of Tomio getting caught out, it just feels like Cloud9 continuously managed to come out on top. And it's true, as we get to those later parts of the game, like you said, Keel will definitely be able to do more for the team, but it's hard if he dies.
Cocoon onto Keel. You can't face check as easily against this team because Elise, if she is there, that Cocoon hits you in the face, you can't see a damn thing, and you are dead before you get a chance to do anything about it.
And at this point now, it's a Baron call for Cloud9. You see them moving up, no jungler available. There's still a lot of opportunity, though. Soligo has the shuffle, Lens has the arrow, and now it's MNS who's looking for the angle.
You still have to outsmite Elise, but I've seen crazier things happen on this stream. Duo King is deleted by MNS, but Soligo looks for the shuffle. Double divides come out. MNS is taken out, 1500 HP on the Baron, but it is a clean smite and takeaway from Tomio. Cloud9, they dropped MNS, but they still get the objective that they were playing for.
And I'll tell you what, everyone on that Cloud9 roster is thinking the same thing. Worth. And Moose Hater.
I should be able to queue out over the wall. And unfortunately for Moose Hater, he was not expecting so many of Cloud9's opponents to be there.
Yeah, and we're gonna see the replay of this one. It's MNS, of course, running interference. Flash comes out. MNS very happily follows with the Abscond Abduct, and Duo King is basically out of the picture there. Overall, MNS and Fake God did an excellent job of just stalling things out, because you look over at the Baron Pit, I mean, so many people of Wildcard are distracted. Like, MNS basically just doing a funny dance, making faces. He fulfilled his purpose in ensuring Cloud9 get this huge buff.
Back end of that already, Cloud9 making great use of the buff that they have been awarded. Tier 1 turret falling in the top side of the map. They're slowly making their encroachment into the base of Wildcard. A 7,000 gold lead, and the pity prizes, aka the objective bounties, are in full swing for Wildcard. This is the game saying, you'll need some help.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I don't want to say humiliating, but it feels bad when the objectives come up, because it's like, oh man, even the game is like, bro, just have this, all right?
Yeah,
you need it. And that's oh, go ahead.
No, I will say, you know, Wildcard surprised us with that mid-game turnaround. Lens picked up a huge quadra as well. And I love that Wildcard are willing to throw down and not be deterred by the expected favorite in Cloud9 Challengers. But there's a reason why they are 7-1 in the split.
Yeah, and we're seeing it right now in real time, Mark. Now, objective bounties up and available. Almost 9,000 up here. Wildcard, Moose Hater, specifically, are able to get, you know, a little something on the other side. But beyond that, you're joking.
Oh,
you're joking.
Man.
MNS is giggling to himself right now. Would you not just be laughing, Mark? Being like, he doesn't know.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Moose Hater was done dirty. He thought he was alive. He thought he was out. They played with his emotions. They played with his feelings. They're playing with their food right now. Keel still manages to make it out alive, though. And Tomio almost burns down. No, wait. The
real arrow.
This time it's Lenz's turn. But M&S is nowhere near in danger of being taken out.
It's brutal. Even though you don't get Keel, you get a splash. And you just continue to exert that pressure on the side of the jungle. Lost is just feeling himself at the moment here. Just because of how powerful. I mean, yeah, 3 items. Big bounty under his name. Both summoners up and available. Now Lost is here. He's scaled up. And this is about to be the Lost show.
But hopefully not like the real Lost show.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
You know, if anyone knows that ending, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
On many levels.
Sorry, that was really dumb on my part.
You know what? It needed to be said. I respect it. Chat was thinking it. Somewhere deep in my subconscious, I was thinking it.
You know what? I had to break the ice, you know? Just had to address the elephant in the room right there.
Exactly.
Just like how the big elephant in the room is, you know, Cloud9 are just
and he brings it back.
Couple minutes away from closing out this game. I mean, they're not anywhere near soul point, but I imagine that if they are able to force Wildcard to take a fight, I mean, Cloud9 just get the steamroll them. But what can Wildcard do? I mean, it's just all about the long-range engage, just fishing for opportunities where Cloud9 might be disrespectful, might be overstepping their welcome.
I think that's really all you have, because the double-edged sword of long-range, non-committal engage, like the Maokai ultimate, like the Ashe ultimate, is the fact that when your enemy is in your face, in your space, you're having a very difficult time of it.
God, that is terrifying. You're a Moose hater. You're just waiting in this bush to see, oh, maybe I can, you know, sneak on by and take a 1v1 with Fake God. Fake God checks the bush, immediately teleport, and you're like, okay.
It's like, my bad.
Oh, good flash from Duo King. Fake God was looking for the scoop to whoop, forced to flash back over the wall in safety. M&S over on the backside of the wall, forced to flash as well. Lost is gone. Taken down. Don't tell me Wildcard can bring this one back, because they just took out Lost, getting a little too comfortable in the base of Wildcard.
Yeah, we're getting a little too spicy, Cloud9. The wild game is Wildcard's game, and they managed to win it out this time. A big shutdown for Moose Hater and Soul Point, all things considered, unless we see a potential steal from Tomio. Fact is, this pressure you got for yourselves is going to be able to get you a dragon, allow Moose Hater to continue pushing out top lane, and you can actually play to one of your major win conditions, because that Hextech Soul is a very powerful one to be working with here, Mark.
Chain Lightning from damage-based abilities or auto attacks. That's something you don't just shrug off and be like, oh yeah, you know, it's fine. Yeah,
that's no big deal. It's chill.
No big deal. I mean, it's electrocuting you. You gotta be respectful. And Wildcard taking advantage of the extra gold income and influx that they're getting based off of the objective bounty. Tomio was looking for a very, very optimistic flash cocoon over the wall. It doesn't find anyone. Wildcard just stepped right on back. They were burning down this Baron, but it's reset surely. Rest of Cloud9, they just want to force the opposition here. Keel dodges out on the Gnar ultimate with a well-timed W. And the rest of Cloud9, they lose out on their top laner, trading it for Duo King. They're going to try to take advantage of the mid wave where it's stacked up right now, but they're not going to be able to get much turret structure damage. Tell me. Wow. This is impressive from Wildcard, if I'm going to be honest here. They are holding down the lines. They're standing their ground.
Right, and you can see it, Cloud9 trying to take advantage of Moose Hater not being in the area, because we're constantly seeing Moose Hater on the split. And I think, honestly, props to Wildcard for being able to hold on, especially because if they're able to keep doing what they're doing, in the fact that they stall these fights out, they make space so that Moose Hater can keep splitting, that could end up being really big for them, because Moose Hater is running the Hull Breaker, very potent in the 1v1, despite the lead that Fake God has had. There was a 3-level difference. Now Moose Hater is level 16. He's narrowed that distance by a lot. So Moose Hater in the side lane at this point, I think, is a big problem here. So if you can avoid team fighting as Wildcard, keep things in this 4-1 fashion, then Wildcard, that's their angle. You keep taking down structures, and Moose Hater splits to a win.
And you have so much vision control just from the utility of your spells on Wildcard side. You can fish with your saplings as Maokai. You can look to fish with hawk shots even. You don't have to throw out the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. You can get immediate vision over in a large area. Wildcard, all they have to do is just stall this Baron out. They can't commit. There's no way that they can take the fight, but if they can just slow down the recalls from Cloud9, Moose Hater can do some massive turret structure damage on the bottom side of the map. Oh my god! Kale stole the kill! Wildcard! You can't doubt the baby, even against what is probably our best Challengers League team here. But somehow Wildcard pulling miracles after miracle. Moose Hater does not get a chance to go for the inhibitor itself, but it's the inhibitor tower, the Hull Breaker putting in work. God, I love this team.
What an insane play coming through. Clutch steal from Keel. It means that Moose Hater, who we said needs to split for the win, just got his split push upgraded up tenfold with the Baron buff. And now, Cloud9 needs to be even more cognizant of that, because now, Moose Hater in these next 3 minutes, if they overcommit to one side of the map and Wildcard keep them busy long enough, Moose Hater could literally play to end the game. And we'll see a replay here of what happened. And realistically, seeing this from Keel is incredible. Someone who has experience in the academy system now called Challengers, but being a player who we felt got snubbed for not being allowed to return. We think he can play at this level, and what does he do, Mark? He steals from one of the best teams in the league.
Core members of this Wildcard roster, the ones that were also on the AoE Ginger Turmeric roster last year, no strangers to pulling off upsets against strong Challengers League teams. When you think back to the AoE Ginger Turmeric that took down 100 Thieves Academy in our Summer Proving Grounds run, that was one of the few upsets that we had in that lower bracket. This is early on in the spring split, but if Wildcard can even scrape a game against what we believe going to be a finalist or the best team in Challengers League against Cloud9 this early on, I mean, that is something remarkable to build upon.
That's right, and we talked about it and the draft for this game, Mark. Wildcard being that team where if they can actually play, because this is a more standard look than what we're used to seeing, if they can take a game off someone like Cloud9, it bodes well for the rest of their regular season.
All right, Cloud9, I mean, you go for this engagement. Moose Hater's on the top side of the map. He's got Baron buff and he's got Hull Breaker, and he's doing massive damage to the inhibitor tower.
But so is Lost!
Is lighting up Wildcard on the backside. Lens is able to take him out before he eventually falls.
Whoa!
And Moose Hater's got to run. He was not able to get the split push mission down. It seemed that Fate God pushed him out of the way. Wildcard, their roll has been stopped. The momentum comes to a crash, and Cloud9 back in control.
I will say, Fate God did have to flash, it looks like, so Moose Hater potentially went for that all-in. And I like that aggression, because overall, if you win something like that, that could be your key to victory here. But it's true, Cloud9 firmly take control of the game once again with this engage. Again, the stolen ultimate from M&S sets it up perfectly, and even though Lens is doing so much damage, you can see it. Lost, when you're ulting, that AoE, the chain lightning damage, as if you have a Hextech Soul already from Lost, did enough damage. I mean, props to Lens. The kiting was insane, but it wasn't enough.
Yep. Well, on the bright side for if you are a Wildcard fan in the chat, there's no more objective bounties. The game no longer deems it, serious need and help for Wildcard. They believe that, Wildcard can still play and be competitive with Cloud9 in this state. But for Cloud9, showing why, even when Wildcard is fighting surprising responses back, they kind of take a step back and they say, okay, guys, this is how we play out this fight. Let's just execute. We're playing around our Zeri. This is our win con. Let's just close the damn game out now.
Right. And for all the gold lead that C9 have, if we really look item to item here, I mean, we look at Lens versus Lost. Only half an item behind is Lens. So it's still in a very powerful position overall. I mean, you look at jungle, Keel's been doing a decent job catching up, even though he's going for a slightly cheaper build with that Mikhail's, which I actually think is a really good purchase, so you can immediately cleanse CC off somebody.
Yeah.
I think that Wildcard are actually in a pretty good position this game. And again, so much hinges on Moosehater because he's constantly going to be on the split, and he will always be more useful doing that than as a team fighter, especially with the hull breaker that he has in his inventory. With that in mind, being a player who, I mean, he plays the spiciest picks of them all, Mark. And for him to have so much hinging on this game on a more standard pick like Fiora would be amazing if he manages to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, Moosehater was one of the first top laners we saw in Proving Grounds play the Fiora before anyone else. Not many were willing to take that gamble. It's
true.
I mean, now we're in a meta where a lot more top laners have gotten experience on this champion and willing to take it in matchups, but Moosehater was definitely one that was incredibly confident to bust out even against someone like Tenacity, who is now in the LCS at this level. So Wildcard, we talked about them being one of the best provisional teams that we have in the league for a reason.
Yeah.
And so Cloud9 definitely have found it probably a lot more surprisingly difficult than they were anticipating when it came to the way they wanted to close out the game.
Difficult though it may be, it's still possible, Mark. And now, I mean, the most major objective that we're fighting for both of these teams is going to be the Baron. That's why you see Moosehater, everybody's off the map, so he's paying his respects. So there's an opportunity here for Wildcard to move in topside, and you can see them do it. Clear out vision, set things up, because one, you don't want to get a surprise Baron start from Cloud9, and you have to face check them. You need that information in advance, and you need to be able to keep this mid-wave pushed in as much as possible. You need to take down this mid-tier 1, because I just realized we're almost 40 minutes in, and Cloud9 have kept that one defended. It's kind of low on health, but the fact that it is up is insane.
Push and pull between both teams, fighting for vision control in this topside river. Baron is the big play, but with the Dragon coming up and its sole point for Wildcard, I can imagine that Wildcard might shift their focus. A teleport from Fake God. He's got Mega all ramped up, ready to go. And they have no idea. He finally makes his mark. He looks for it.
Big stun!
Huge combo. Slam Sligo against the wall. The divide is all for naught as M&S. Oh, wait. M&S gets exploded by Lens and Kill. But wait, look at Moosehater.
Wait, they have to back. He can end.
In the base. Tomio's trying to recall right now. He's super low. Moosehater's going to be able to find one inhibitor, but all of the rest of his members are
he might
gone.
be able to do this.
Does Moosehater have enough time? He has a GA. He's going to go for it. He's going to risk everything. Recalls have been stopped by Cloud9. Both Nexus turns are
my God!
No way! Moosehater's about to pull off the impossible! Can Wildcard act? Oh
he
my
did
God,
it!
Moosehater!
Oh no, he's gonna die!
He's still on GA! Oh my God! We've seen this before! Can Moosehater clutch it out? He does it!
He does it! Are you kidding me, Mark?
Moosehater will accomplish the backdoor for Wildcard!
Are you
pull
serious?
off the surprise win! What?
Mark, this is what it's all about, man. League of Legends. Insane play from Moosehater. Insane call from Wildcard to upset one of the best teams in Challengers League. Oh my God.
Guys, we've got nothing to say. We need to catch our breath. Everyone get out right now and go expend your energy somehow.
Take a walk.
Go take a walk or something. We'll be right back in a few minutes.